Is Neal Brown actually thinking about starting JT Daniels for another game in a Mountaineer uniform? Or is what he was talking about at the press conference coach speak? We're going to talk about that coming up on Mountaineer Paul Talks Football.
This is for Cameron.
What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Mountaineer Paul, and you have landed once again at Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. Here we talk about Big 12 football, specifically with a Mountaineer slant, and we love to do it because we love the Mountaineers. Welcome in. Before we get started, guys, if you don't mind, like the video. Just move your finger a couple inches if you don't care real quick and like the video. Been having trouble getting likes here lately. And if you're not a subscriber to Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, I talk about all of college football, talking about Big 12 football, specifically with the West Virginia University slant. I do cover it all. This just happens to be another West Virginia Mountaineers video. With that said, would really appreciate your subscription and would love to chat with you down in the comments about football. Also, this channel isn't monetized just yet. I'm still trying to grow towards 1,000 subscribers. And so the only way for me to be compensated is to leave my Cash App tag. And I'm going to do that in a pinned tweet down below. My cash tag will be in the bottom. All right, let's get to this. So in Neal Brown's press conference, he remained non-committal to a starting quarterback going forward. What purpose does that serve you? I'm not really sure. I feel like, personally, Kansas State has a really smart coaching staff. I don't know that making them prepare for a JT Daniels is going to really do anything. We saw yesterday how the team rallied around Garrett Greene and what he did. I think it's pretty obvious that a lot of the teammates like the way he leads better than the way that JT leads, which is pretty non-committal, stoic personality. Apparently he wears pajama bottoms around everywhere he goes. He's just a different kind of cat. On teams like this, you need leaders to step up, especially at the quarterback spot. And Garrett Greene has been that. Yesterday, Garrett Greene comes in relief duty. He only plays 2 series in the first half. For some reason, Neal Brown still wanting to hold on, still tries to play JT Daniels after Garrett Greene initially got the ball and was asked to get West Virginia out of the hole. He does that, gets us into scoring position, and then the next thing you know, JT Daniels is back into the game again. I'm not sure what's wrong with JT Daniels. I don't want to pile on. If you want to see more about that, look down my channel list. You'll see I've got videos about JT Daniels going back several weeks now. I thought we should have benched him going on 3 weeks ago now. That was just me. I looked into the numbers. I saw the Pro Football Focus grades. I saw the QBR. I saw that even though we were scoring a large amount of points, his stats were not conducive to good quarterback play. A lot of times what you were seeing was JT Daniels throwing a screen pass to a receiver, the receiver doing all the work, and his stat line was getting inflated. So I'm not really a believer in some of the traditional quarterback ranking metrics. If you want to know a little bit more about Pro Football Focus, I actually did a little bit of a breakdown on one of those and on the videos down below. But basically, the way Pro Football Focus does things is this. They grade players based on what they do. If the quarterback throws a screen pass and the receiver goes 67 yards for a touchdown, the receiver is going to get the majority of that grade. If the quarterback throws a ball into a tight window and keeps it out of danger while doing so, the quarterback gets the grade, and they grade it on a 0.5 plus or minus scale. We haven't got the Pro Football Focus grade back on yesterday's game. I'll have to look and see maybe later or tomorrow and see what that is. So let's dive into some stats real quick. JT Daniels goes 7 of 12 for 65 yards yesterday. Wasn't exactly lighting the world on fire. He still continues to look off. I'd be interested to know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think JT Daniels is hurt? Do you think he has just regressed? Was it a weather issue yesterday? This is not the same quarterback we saw play against Pitt. I think we can all agree on that. Or even Virginia Tech. You know, think about that ball he threw to Sam James against Virginia Tech down the seam. None of those kind of throws are happening now. They're all close to the line of scrimmage. And actually, he ranks, last I checked, last in the Big 12 in yards per attempt. So that screams injury to me because JT Daniels in his career has not been afraid to go downfield. Somebody else I was talking to thinks that he's obviously been labeled as an injured player in his career, and to admit that publicly would be very detrimental to him at this point. And what's weird is actually at this point, it probably looks better for him going forward just to be benched because of poor play rather than being benched because of injury. But I just can't fathom why Neal Brown would want to go with him going forward when the future of the quarterback room, I believe, is still sitting in that room, and it's not Garrett Greene. But I do say Garrett Greene is good for now. He's good for this year. Great, perfect, whatever. But there are two quarterbacks in that room behind him. I think both, if not now, eventually will be better than Garrett Greene. It's just my personal belief. Garrett Greene has 257 total yards yesterday and 3 touchdowns. We were down at half 12-6. This was a heck of a job, man. He did a really good job, really inspiring performance. And really, if you haven't seen what Garrett Greene said after the game yesterday, you should go check out that press conference. One thing that obviously worries me a bit here is he was 12 for 22, 138 yards and a touchdown. Wasn't like the world on fire. We could practice will improve that. Obviously, the playbook, the way it was for JT, is not going to be the way it is for Garrett. It's going to be a more boots and waggles and RPO game. It's going to be completely different than anything we've seen all year with JT. And you know what else is funny? The RPO game is actually going to mean something. People wonder why our run game has been slowed down. It's because there's no threat in the RPO for the quarterback to pull the ball. I still can't figure out why they were doing that to JT, but I'm not a college coach. I just talk about them on YouTube. I'm curious what you guys think about this. Do you guys think Neal Brown, is there a possibility that he's actually going to start JT Daniels for another game? Would it surprise you after what he did with Jarrett Doege for 2 seasons? Because I can tell you what my answer is, and that's no. Sometimes I wonder if he just wants to go down with the ship he knows is burning. So Kansas State week's coming up, and one thing that really worries me is obviously they have a really mobile quarterback in their room, Adrian Martinez, who can emulate everything Garrett Greene does and probably more. He's a better thrower of the football than Garrett Greene is. Not by a whole lot, but he is better. He's very, very turnover prone. But it's looking like the backup there is probably going to be the starter coming into our week. From everything I've gathered, we may not be facing Adrian Martinez. But like I said, he can still emulate everything Garrett Greene does. And they face it in practice pretty much every day into the season up until now. So facing Garrett Greene is not going to be anything new for the Kansas State Wildcats. Is that something Neal Brown is considering when preparing for Kansas State? But I'm on record. I think we should go ahead and just say, look, Garrett Greene's our starter. We're going with Garrett. And if Garrett doesn't get it done, we're going with Goose or Nico. If I had my druthers, of course, Nico would be the guy. But maybe that's coming for next year. I was really hoping to see Nico get some snaps this year. But it's looking like they're going to just ride out the rest of the year and let Nico maybe try to win a quarterback battle next year if he doesn't transfer. It's going to be an interesting week, guys. Hopefully, by midweek, we know who the starting quarterback is going to be for Saturday. But Neal had even mentioned going into game time that this may be something we don't know the answer to. I just don't know. I don't think it's going to be worth trying to trick Kansas State. I really don't. I think the morale of the team is more important than trying to trick Kansas State. So I'm on the name Garrett Greene, the starter, going into Kansas State week. That's what I want to see. Does Neal Brown have the cojones to do it? Tell me in the comments. Really appreciate you guys. This has been another episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. This episode is over. Floppy hat and all. And I am out.
This is for Cameron. Tim Cal.